Welcome, sister. We are beginning week 2 of your initiation. Welcome back. It was so lovely to be with you yesterday. So I want to kick off today's video with just a couple of logistical notes. The first one is, please share in the group. Any way that you feel called. Facebook, text, we open up the WhatsApp channel, reach out directly to your accountability partner. The reason this is so important to me is that we are cultivating a space for safety and vulnerability. This is in contrast to the most traditional, the most sanctioned forms of leadership, right? Of gathering, of sharing, which are most commonly, most traditionally polished, premeditated, typically heading toward a specific goal or trajectory. So when we find ourselves being led or leading in these spaces, there's a laundry list of expectation that front loads it. I don't want to be the unpolished one. I don't want to be the one criticized for being messy, right? So it's very common and understandable to follow suit. So here we want to practice the harmonizing agent for this style of leadership with the one that we are here to embody. The one that is raw, vulnerable, messy, unknown, uncomfortable. We want to master the art of holding and participating in this space so that we may continue to or begin to also offer that to others. So please, share away. All of you is welcome here. And your wholeness is a gift to all of us. Please and thank you. A second logistical note is specifically for this video today, we're going to be diving into the topic of the reclamation of the feminine, right? A key component in embodied feminine leadership. So this means we're going to be touching on, well, why is there an imbalance? How did this happen? And how do we want to respond? Right? What will need to happen for there to be more balance in the newness? And so it's a bit of a lofty area of conversation. And so I have taken some notes. I have some things I want to make sure that I share with you all. So you may notice from time to time my gaze going to my notes. And I just wanted to give you permission, if you find that distracting, or anything that I do in a live video, if you find it distracting, please consider yourself permissed to just listen to audio, to not be gazing at the screen. There may even be times where you wish to lay down, right? Or get cozy in bed or snuggle up on the couch. And I trust your judgment. Do what works for you, okay? And on that note, before we dive too much into content, I would love to invite you to get comfortable right now as we take a moment to embody some feminine essence right now. Embodiment is very much a feminine state. Right? If we have this masculine doing and this feminine being, right? Energies that we all encompass in some ratio. Right now, we want to amplify the being and being with the truth and the reality of the now. So go ahead and get comfortable. Pause the video if you need some props or some time to do that. And we'll go ahead and get started. So feel free to close your eyes, begin to connect to the breath. Today, there's no need to manipulate or change the breath in any way, but rather to be with it. Travel through your being, through your experience, almost like you're surfing on the breath or riding along with it, allowing it to take you inward. And as you journey with the breath to your inner experience, you may notice some sensations, some energies, an experience that feels louder. Just notice. Where do you feel the most energy? As the breath travels in and you're riding along with it, you go all the way deep into the lungs, into the belly, and then just releasing naturally. And you may notice something that wants to be softened or something that wants to move or be released. And now is simply the time to be aware of this. Nothing to do but notice. How is the flow of your breath? Is there ease? Or is it choppy or held back and constricted in some way? What do you feel at the crown of the head? The muscles of the face and the jawline? How are the shoulders hanging today? Glide your awareness into the heart space, noticing any sensation or experience here. Then dripping down into the belly, the abdominal chamber, all these beautiful vital organs here. What do you notice? Ride this chariot of awareness all the way down into the pelvis and the hips, the legs, the feet. Breathe into this full body awareness. Awareness of sensation, awareness of quality, pace, texture, color. Allow all of it into your awareness, or perhaps there is very little to be experienced in this moment. And let yourself be aware of that. In this moment, are you experiencing any desire or longing, tension, distraction, a wish to be distracted? Just notice. What is the quality of your presence right now? Beautiful. If there's something that you are coming into that feels important, then right now I invite you to roll over, grab a journal, a piece of paper, and take down any notes that feel important. You can pause the video and come back. And if you're ready to move forward with me, please come back to whatever position feels comfortable, to be attentive and get those eyes opened up. Reclamation of the feminine. Let's talk about it. What do those words even mean, right? So this is a abundant, huge topic for conversation. There are fractions of this conversation that people literally devote their lives to studying or immersing themselves into. So today I will begin with my take on the topic. And the invitation is for you to try it on. Let it wash over you. Let yourself receive my words, my suggestions, my inspirations, and let what lands, lands. Who knows? Who knows what's possible? I'm a huge fan of welcoming perspective and trusting that the perspective that wants to stick to you and be integrated will. And that which doesn't belong to you can be released. So if there's something that isn't resonating with you, just leave it. So current times, modern day, yeah? What are we living in? So this is a time of busyness, right? Lots to do. Productivity. Fast-paced. Yeah? Do you remember the last time you thought to yourself, oh, life is just so slow? Yeah, me neither. It's a time of common disconnection, like disconnect amongst our people, our community, our environment. It has been suggested that we are a part of more groups or affiliated or have membership with more organizations and groups and communities than ever before in human history. And yet we consistently, when polled, suggest that we are more lonely and disconnected feeling than ever before. We are in this time just disenchanted with the systems that we rely on the most, right? Our systems of education, of social welfare, healthcare, right? We are disenchanted with the systems that we rely on the most and feel the most disempowered around changing them. Fast-paced, productive, action-oriented, disconnected, mental health epidemic. Depression and anxiety. You know it, you may experience it, you've read about it, you've heard your people. Yeah? And a time of patterned shutdown of our own systems, conscious or mostly unconscious, subconscious, shutdown as a mode of protection. Because as the world grew more and more interconnected and our access to, right, the internet, for example, we've lived through this, right? We know more, we see more, we're exposed to more, we feel more. And so this pattern shutdown, this protective mode to protect us from the pain and the overwhelm and the fear is real. These are all comments on the pattern points of imbalance. So regardless of how you personally evaluate feminine, masculine, whether or not you use those terms, what I'm suggesting here, what I'm pointing at is patterns that point at imbalance, inarguably. So I would suggest that these imbalances can all be directly traced back to the patriarchy. The patriarchy. How does it feel to hear me say? The patriarchy is a thing, right? And the patriarchy has influence over time. Okay, so let's talk about this. The patriarchy is, I am not talking about the tyranny of men, right? I love men. I love men. And as a matter of fact, I have just as much compassion and concern for the men on this planet as I do for the women, because they are subject to the same imbalances that we are, that we just listed. The patriarchy is, it began as an idea, right? And this idea was resting on a foundation of values. Those values were a direct reflection of the time and the people holding them. So, whether you want to go back to prehistoric time, whether you want to go back to biblical time, whether you want to go back a couple of centuries, this is the part where there's a lot of variation in the specifics of the storytelling. But the idea, that the basic concept, is that the patriarchy is an idea that rests on a foundation of values. The values are a reflection of the people at the moment in time that you are looking at. Okay? So the idea, right? The patriarchy is an idea. The idea becomes a paradigm. Maybe this is all review for you. Well, what is a paradigm? It's like the paradigm is the way that the effects of an idea are tiered and spread. So if there's one influence, right, that springs out from this root system of values that gave birth to this idea, and now we have this sprout, if you will. That sprout is spread maybe to a very small number of people. And that small number of people spread it to their people, right? The next thing you know, we have this full-grown tree of spreading values, rooting from the idea. Actually, reverse that, of ideas rooted in these values, right? So, when I say that, it's like, well, what is the idea, right? Like, what is that idea? Well, there's some shared common threads, right? When we're talking about the idea of the patriarchy, and that is that men are more valuable than women. Valuable, value, yeah? That women's gifts are less valuable than men's gifts. So these are inherent gifts, these are intuitive gifts, right? That a masculine God is more powerful than a feminine God. Oh, does that feel like a leap? Why would she say that? Well, history suggests, right, that we've had the same number of masculine and feminine deities, gods and goddesses. And yet, the majority of organized religion in modern day reflects the ultimate value of a single male God. Or, in some major world religions, different representations of the masculine God, right? So different expressions of a masculine God. So this one true God is male. This one true God has no mother, no feminine face. This is a problem. It's a problem in the sense of it's out of balance. Okay. So this patriarchal paradigm, it has some serious roots in the stories of our creation. The stories of our creation, and therefore, often, the foundation of man's religion. Okay. So we could spend a lifetime studying the history of organized religion. We could. There's so much there. It's juicy, it's intriguing, it's infuriating. So please let me know if you would like to put some extra attention here. I have a lot of resources I would love to share. We don't have to go back and study. We don't have to look at the facts and the dates and the the timelines of all of this stuff. The living effects of this patriarchal paradigm are within us. They are alive in us, affecting our everyday experience in our bodies, with who we identify as, right? And what we value. It's present and alive right there. Which is why the change making, the healing work, the transformation has to start here. So generation after generation, the value system of the patriarchy has been passed down. Okay? So this is why we find ourselves, when we look through this lens of curiosity, we find ourselves in such a state of imbalance. And why the folks who are willing to look at that imbalance can trace it back to the patriarchy. Okay? So this was never about devaluing our conversation, right? Our purpose for gathering was never about devaluing the masculine, right? It's not about devaluing the masculine essence. It's not about devaluing masculine gifts. We love these. We need these. It's rather, it is about restoring and reclaiming its feminine essence counterpart to be whole. Okay? So right now, here we are, 2024. Now is a safer time. And I want to say that with the full disclaimer that is not true for all women. And I trust you to translate that to a meaningful way for yourself. But in general, it is a typically safer time to remember our feminine essence, to awaken it, right? To light it up, to practice it, to put it into the world. As with so many other ideologies and so many other systems of value. Yay! So what we are reclaiming right now is not only the connection to our feminine essence, but these beautiful, unique, and diverse expressions of our sisters, right? And the sisters, I mean our mothers, our actual sisters, our sisterhood, our friends, our sisters around the world. And I will always come back to mentioning it also is a reclamation of our the feminine essence of our first mother, Mother Earth. And what is so beautiful about this reclamation work is that those three things that I just mentioned are often interchangeable. So it doesn't really matter which gate you're walking through. You go spend more time with Mother Earth. Typically, she leads you right back home to your own feminine essence in much needed ways. When you spend time with your own feminine gifts, right? And let's just use that being that we've already mentioned. When you sit in being, you typically feel Mother Earth more readily. So these are interchangeable, right? These are in relationship to one another. So we will be breaking down masculine and feminine essence and a number of other beautiful tools I'll be sharing here today to go along with this video for you to deepen your own understanding, your own self-exploration for how these energies are alive in you and how you experience imbalance. This is where the medicine is, right? To know thy imbalance is to know thy medicine. So we'll be doing that this week, and I'd like to just leave you with a couple of questions to contemplate. Perhaps you already have answers readily available. First one. If you were to pray and make offerings to the feminine essence that currently feels most accessible to you, to go deeper into this work, who or what will you be praying to ask for guidance, protection, inspiration? And is this new to you? Or is this who, what, something that you have been praying to, making offerings to for a long time? And secondly, to contemplate, connect, and pray with this feminine energy consistently throughout this journey over the next 6 weeks, is there anything that is currently taking your time and energy away from that? Right? So I'll just use a quick example. Like I had this beautiful, extremely feminine altar space, right? So is there, when I could be taking my burdens, taking my challenge, taking my gratitude to that space, to offer it, to pray into, what are the types of things that are most likely to get in the way, to distract me from going to that? So this could be anything from, calling a friend and gossiping, right? Sitting down to binge on Netflix. It could be, having a few glasses of wine. What are the things that are taking the time and energy away from the offerings, the prayer, the connection that you just named in that first contemplation? And would you like to, totally up to you, would you like to make an intentional gesture for the remainder of our journey to take a break from those things or to change how you're interacting with them? If so, make a commitment to yourself right now and make it clear. Make it clear and place it somewhere for yourself to be reminded, to be accountable, and definitely let your accountability partner know. Okay. I think we'll stop here for the video and make sure you have some time this week to spend with the materials. There's some pretty awesome TED Talks, actually, that I'm really excited for you to spend some time with. Shorter, but you know how the TED Talks work. It's a lot of personal testimonial that can feel widely accessible. And so there's just some powerhouse women to connect with and hear from. And so I hope you enjoy. And I hope that you have a beautiful week of reclamation of the feminine.